And we're live. Hey everybody. If you're watching this on the replay, I want to let you know a couple things. First off, if you want to make sure that you're here when we're live so you can engage and ask questions and chat and all that, turn on notifications for my channel. It's right next to the subscribe button. Just ring that little bell and then you can get notifications. And so when I am live, you'll get a notification telling you so, and then you can make sure that you're here for that. So if you want to be here, that's the best way to make it happen. And then also feel free to skip ahead if you want to be here. That's the best way to make it happen. And then also feel free to skip ahead if you want. We're gonna be hanging out a little bit here at the beginning, just waiting for people to get their notifications and come on, and all that kind of stuff. And we're gonna be making curry tonight. Very excited about that. And I wanna let you know what's been going on with me, why this live stream is not on the first Thursday of this month as they usually are, and all that kind of stuff. So, we'll see as some people could get on. Where did I put, oh, here's my water. And as you come on, say hello. Oh, Tamra Weeks is here. Hello. Hi. And as you come on, say hello. Oh, Tamra Weeks is here. Hello. Hi. Nita's here. Hi. Good to see you guys. And yes, as you come on, definitely say hello so I know that you're here. And I'll tell you a little bit about what we're getting ready to do. I've got my water here. This is water with a splash of cranberry juice, like just straight 100% cranberry juice. I really like it because I really like sour foods. I always have. So that's what we're doing today. Cheryl says hi. Naomi says hi. Hi everyone. Some new names too that I don't often see on the live streams, so that's exciting. If you haven't been on the live streams before, something I always need help with is remembering to drink water, because I just keep talking and talking and talking and talking and talking, and then I don't keep up with my water, and then I'm like, ugh. So if you can give me little reminders throughout if you see that I'm not drinking my water like I should be, that would be helpful. Otherwise, I'm going to start to sound really croaky, and that's not fun. But for now, I'm going to sit down over here. I also have a tablet here on the side, so that I'll be looking down a lot, because as I move the camera for chopping and things, I like to read your comments here, so I have the live stream pulled up so I can always see that no matter which way the camera is facing. And if you have questions about the cooking stuff or nutrition stuff or whatever, this is the time to hang out and chat. We don't have to talk about food stuff. If you want to talk about other random stuff, I'm cool with that too. And I try to get to all the comments. I don't always get to every single one, but I try to make sure that I'm looking and keeping track of the conversations that are going on and all that kind of thing. Kind of Vegan says, I'm here. Hey, good to see you. And if you are also cooking right now or eating dinner, I know not all of you are in the same time zone as me, but if you are cooking right now, I know some of you like to cook while I'm cooking and hang out, then I would love to hear about what you're making as well. So let's talk about what we're going to make briefly. I'm going to give you a couple update things, and then we're going to get into the food. So tonight we are making curry. We're going to make a curry in a hurry. It's actually a really fun free tool for making a curry. Sorry, I've got stuff already on the stove, so I'm just watching it. It's a free tool that I'm going to show you, and it's really helpful, and I'm going to use it to make my dinner tonight, and then, you know, you can see how it all goes. Also, these live streams are usually on the first Thursday of every month. This is like the second Tuesday or something, so no, you haven't, you know, you're not, you haven't lost your mind. The reason that this is happening so late this month is because I've been traveling a lot and doing a lot of different things, so I haven't been in town and all that kind of stuff. I went to the dietetics conference, as a lot of you know, if you saw my video about that, and then I was at the American Academy of Pediatrics meeting, doing some stuff there, and we can talk more about that too as it goes on. But I've been running all around. My videos have been kind of sporadic, so I appreciate you sticking around with me while I'm not on my usual game, but you know, it is what it is. So with all that said, let's hop into the food making. Kind of Vegan says, I just made beef stew. Sounds delicious. It's definitely getting cool here. I'm in Virginia, so it's getting chilly, and so all of those kind of warm stew, curry, all that kind of stuff sounds really good right now. Kind of Vegan says I need to change my channel name. Well, I mean, it's kind of vegan, so it still works, but maybe. Also, I'm wearing long sleeves, and that's good for the cold weather, but I feel like as I get cooking, I'm going to start getting hot. Oh, okay, so I have rice going on the stove right now. It just started boiling, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that, set a timer for that for 5 minutes. We'll just let that go in the background and we'll start cooking. So we're making curry tonight. Now, we are going to be using a tool called the Meal-O-Matic. I'm going to show it to you. Another fun thing about the tablet. So I'm going to close out of the live stream on here real quick and pull this up. So, a lot of you know that one of the things I do in my work, I see one-on-one clients, I do my YouTube stuff, but I also work with a nonprofit organization called the Doctor Yum Project. And the Doctor Yum Project is a nonprofit founded by a pediatrician, and it's all about helping kids and families get in the kitchen, cooking more, feeling more comfortable cooking at home, just so that they can eat better and get more variety in their diet and all that kind of stuff. So that's an organization that I work with. I do a lot of work with them, and I absolutely love it. I love the work we do, and it's so much fun, and everyone that I work with there is amazing. But one of the tools on the website is what we are going to be using. So I'm going to kind of give you a little demo. So actually, let me do something in my settings real quick. I want to make sure that there aren't, when you start getting notifications on your iPad and then it's popping up and y'all can't see what's happening. So I want this in Do Not Disturb. Okay. I think that is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Yes, I think so. We'll see. It's acting glitchy. Hopefully this works. Okay, so you can do this on your own right now if you have another device near you, or if you're like at your computer or whatever. So you're going to go to dryum.org. Doctor spelled out yum.org, and you can follow along. You can see we just had our Yumathon, which is an annual fundraising event that we do to help raise money for the nonprofit to continue our work, and we're still taking donations for that. So there is a donate button at the top if you want to donate to the project. We do a lot of really cool stuff and provide a lot of free resources for people, but those things are not free to make. So if you're interested, I also have a link in the description of this video, so you can go there as well if you want to follow along on the website. There's recipes and stuff. We're going to be using today is the Meal-O-Matic, so it's got these gears and everything. You click on that, and this is a tool to help you when you have a lot of little bits around the house, or you're kind of in a crunch and you need to figure out something to make for dinner, but you don't have a plan, and you need to figure out what to do with that stuff. So the Meal-O-Matic has 7 different formats. The glare hopefully isn't too bad. There's a stir fry, a curry, a soup maker, a casserole maker, salad maker, pasta maker, and a yum bowl, or like a rice bowl or a Buddha bowl or whatever you want to call it. So they're just different frameworks. So we're doing curry in a hurry tonight. And so what it does is it walks you through. So now it might not be super clear in the live stream, but like I said, if you have this pulled up, you can see it. I'll demo real quick for you. You pick which style of curry. We're going to do a red curry tonight. Oil, we're going to use coconut oil. For our protein, you have a bunch of different options. We're doing chickpeas tonight. And then veggies, I've selected, let me find, I've got carrots, eggplant, green beans, and mushrooms. So we're going to do that. Put some cilantro on top. We hit ready for the next step. And so this, I planned out what I wanted, but you can use it with just what you have on hand as well, which is really nice. It's also really fun for kids. But then the Meal-O-Matic works its magic, and it has created a custom curry recipe for us. So we have all of our ingredients, our method, and there's a video at the bottom showing you how to do it. If you never made a curry before, you can kind of see all the steps sped up, so you know what's happening. And the rice is going perfectly over there. So that's what we're gonna make. So I've made my little recipe here, and I'm just gonna follow this, and we're gonna make our curry. So the first thing we're gonna do is prep all of our ingredients so everything's chopped and ready to go. So what do we wanna start with? Let's start with our onion, I think, and the garlic and the ginger. Let's get that stuff out of the way. So I'm gonna pull the live stream back up here. And I'll just be flipping back and forth between the instructions and the live stream to make sure I'm doing everything correctly. And we're gonna make this happen. Now, Kind of Vegan says, did you plant this fall? I've not planted anything. Every year I have dreams of a fall garden, and then by the time that time gets here, I'm just like, I've missed the boat. One of these days, I'm gonna make it happen, but that day is not today. Okay, so let me grab the onion. I have the onion in the freezer, which might sound strange, but I like to put the onion in the freezer for a little bit because I find that it helps me not cry as much when I'm cutting the onion. I guess it kind of freezes all that stuff so it's not bouncing up in the air and hit me in the eyes. So I am going to turn the camera down and show you how I'm going to cut this onion up, and feel free to continue to comment because, like I said, I can see everything that is going on my tablet. Let me pull up my recipe again. This is going to be a little bit of a new thing for me because I usually just have the live stream up. I'm usually not cooking with the recipe. I'm usually just kind of going for it. Our rice is done boiling. We'll turn that to a simmer. Set the timer for 30 minutes. minutes, 30 minutes. Yeah, so usually on these live streams, I'm just kind of cooking off the top of my head, but that is not what we are doing today, so we'll see how this goes. All right. Okay, I'm gonna turn you guys down to the cutting board now. We're getting there. We're making it happen. All right. And hopefully, it's always a little bit of a struggle to make sure that you guys can see what I'm doing, but we will see where we are. And we have a comment from a beginner's guide. Have you ever used this certain type of seasonings? No, I'm not familiar with that, so I can't say that I have. I don't know if you're just wondering if I like it or if you have a question about it, but I'm not familiar with that particular one. Okay, so cutting the onion. I think you can see me. Why is my... Okay, so this is already a problem with switching back and forth with the iPad, is now I'm not caught up. I also use the tablet view to kind of make sure I'm in the frame, but I think I am. We're going to cut the top of the onion off here. And for this recipe, we need a dice, so that is what we're going to be doing. Now, when you take your onion or anything you're cutting, you want to get a flat surface. That's really, really important, because if you have something rolling around, then there's more risk that you can cut yourself. Flat surface is what we want. Okay. I apologize, y'all. I think I'm going to have to kill my YouTube app because it does not want to load on here. So I can pull this back up and see what is happening on the live stream. Okay, so while that is trying to restart, we're going to peel the outer layer off our onion, get that out of there. And now that we have this peeled and we have our flat surface, we're going to do a dice on this. So the thing with dicing is you want it to be all the same size, right? That's what we want. So we're going to take our knife, and first we're going to cut parallel to the board. We want to be sure to be protecting our fingers. Use a good knife that's nice and sharp so you can be safe, because a dull knife starts bopping all around and that's how you cut yourself. If you ever want to see the knives that I really like to use, or any of the other kitchen tools that you see often in my live streams, I do have a link to my Amazon store below this video. That is just a place where you can see the things that I like. If you do end up going through there and buying, then Amazon gives me a little commission for sending you there, but you pay the same price. So it's also a way that you can support the channel if you get value out of this stuff and enjoy it. And, you know, if you want to know about my favorite tools, there's also books and other things over there. But as far as cooking tools, that's most pertinent to what we're doing right now. Whew, and even though I use that trick, this is still burning my eyes. So that's the thing that's happening. Okay, so that's the first half. We're going to same on the second half. So let me talk you through that again. We're going to do parallel cuts. So I started talking about knives. Then we're going to do perpendicular cuts. And that's, you know, closer together you make the cuts, the smaller your dice. The farther apart you make the cuts, the bigger your dice. And then you're just going to cut across. And so this is efficient. It gives you pieces that are about all the same size, and it helps you get the most out of your onion. Okay, so we're just going to lob off the sides there. And there we go. Onion done. So now I'm going to put this to the side in a bowl. And then we'll move on to our next thing. And y'all are kind of quiet tonight. I mean, that's okay, but I'd love to hear from you. If you have any comments or questions, I'm happy to respond or answer. Okay, so onion is done. Now let's do garlic. So I've got 3 cloves of garlic here. It calls for 2, but I like a lot of garlic, and these aren't huge. So the first thing I'm going to do is smash these with the side of my knife to kind of break off the skin. And then we'll peel those. Peeling garlic is never the most fun part of any cooking process. Whew! And you guys cannot see it right now because the camera's on the cutting board, but my eyes are not very happy because of that onion. Good thing I'm not wearing mascara. So yeah, I'll tell you guys a little bit about what I've been up to. So you know I went to the Food and Nutrition Conference. That was a lot of fun. I do have that whole video where I talk about that. So definitely watch that if you want to see some of the goodies I got and hear a little bit about my experience. It was a blast. Yeah, it was just really good. And it was my first time being there as a vendor. So I was planning to go anyways because it was in DC, so it was close to me. It seemed like a no-brainer. But then the Dr. Yum Project, we decided that we wanted to do a booth there in the exhibit hall to let people know about the free resources on the website that, you know, anyone can use. So that was really fun because it was my first time working like in a booth, which is a little bit different experience, you know, from just being an attendee. Of course, I went to sessions and I myself explored the expo hall as well, but it was just cool to be kind of on that side of things and experiencing it that way. So cutting the garlic, sorry, my nose is running somehow from the onion, I guess because my eyes are watering. Cutting the garlic is just like cutting the onion. You do the parallel cuts, you do the perpendicular cuts, and then you cut across. And again, how tight you do the cuts or how wide you do the cuts is what makes a difference on how big your pieces are. So we've got that. And we're going to do the last one here. You can, of course, use a garlic press if you prefer that. I do have a garlic press, and sometimes I use it. But for something like this, I just prefer to stick with the knife because I already have it out. I'm already using it. And then it's one less thing that I have to wash and clean up. The garlic press is nice if I have to do like a ton of garlic, or if I want the garlic very, very fine or almost paste-like, then the garlic press can be good for that. But generally, I try to keep it simple. Less gadgets means less things to wash. So I'm a fan of that. And then I'm just going to run my knife across here to try to get a little bit finer dice. I'm going to pull this to the side. Actually, I'm going to put it in here with my onion. And it goes. Okay, I got garlic all over my fingers, so I'm going to rinse these off, and then we will move on to the next thing. Alright, so next up is ginger. I've got some left over here from another time I used ginger. I'm going to pull that out. Let's see. Naomi says, I'm making grilled chicken with corn and potato fries. That sounds super yummy. I love some roasted potatoes, fried potatoes, any kind of potatoes really. It's my kind of thing. Okay. I'm going to just kind of, the ends of this are a little weird because I have used it before, so I'm just going to cut those off. And then I'm going to peel this with a spoon. It's kind of a trick that helps you just kind of push off the skin and not have a ton of it, not keep as much of the ginger there as you can, so you're not losing a bunch of stuff. We're going to do that. And it smells amazing. I wish you guys could smell everything that I'm cooking and not just see it, because it really is awesome smelling in here already, and we haven't even done that much. Jordan Sheet says, where did you learn to cook? Did you go to school for it? Okay, good question. So, I am a dietitian, so I kind of went to school for it. Actually, I'm just going to use all this ginger, because why not? So, in your training to become a dietitian, it's a mixture of, like, hardcore health and nutrition classes, like chemistry and organic chemistry and biochemistry and anatomy and physiology and microbiology and all that kind of stuff and all the labs that go with it, as well as nutrition classes and classes on, like, what do you do when someone has a medical condition, what's the nutrition therapy for that. So you have all that kind of stuff, but then you also have some cooking classes, because dietitians, you know, we're all about the food, and so there's a lot of ways that that can come into our work, from just working with individual clients and helping them come up with ideas for cooking at home depending on what they need. But also, you know, maybe you are a dietitian for a school system, and so you're running the cafeteria and the school meals and making sure that those are nutritionally balanced for the students. You got to know about cooking, and you have to know about quantity food production, you know, making food for a lot of people all at one time. Maybe you're a dietitian that works for a food company, and so, or a restaurant or something like that, and so you need to be able to help with developing recipes or products or testing those or whatever. So no matter what area you're working in as a dietitian, obviously you're working with food, and you need to know a little bit about it. With that said, all dietitians have different levels of cooking ability, because some dietitians are more into cooking, some are not. Some dietitians really like working in, like, the ICU of a hospital, and so they're working with patients who maybe aren't eating anything, they might be on tube feeding, or, you know, different things like that. they're not teaching those people how to cook. Maybe they don't have a strong interest in cooking. So maybe they just kind of have what they learned in school, but nothing beyond that. For me, I've always had an interest in food and cooking. So most of what I know is self-taught. I have never like gone to culinary school, though there are some dietitians who do that. I had a friend in school who had also done culinary school. So sometimes you get that combination, but no, I'm not a chef or anything like that. So it's a combination of what I learned in my dietetics program, but also just me cooking a lot at home, learning from cookbooks and videos and TV shows and all that kind of stuff, and my own experience, and putting it all together to be able to do it. So that's how I learned how to cook. Okay, fingers washed. I'm gonna turn you guys facing upward. So I'm gonna rinse my fingers off. I can talk. What am I saying? I'm gonna go rinse my fingers off. I'm gonna turn the camera up and look at you, and we can chat, and we'll chop some more veggies. Okay. Here we go. Now you can see me again. And actually, while we're here, I'm gonna run and get a tissue because my eyes are watering, my nose is running, and I will be back in like 2 seconds, and we'll chat some more. So, talk amongst yourselves. All right, just blew my nose. I'm gonna wash my hands again. All right, hands washed. Let's get back into this cooking stuff. And I need a drink of water. Y'all gotta remind me because I will forget. Okay, Natalie says a little late, but hello. Hi, I'm a little late responding to you, but hi, I'm glad you're here. We're making curry right now. Kind of Vegan says, does a spoon trick work for roasted chilies too? So they're talking about using the spoon to peel the ginger. I don't know, I've never tried it, but maybe it might. Okay, so try it, but I don't have personal experience with that. Cheryl says it's okay to use powdered ginger. You could. You would add it in at a different point in the recipe. If that's all you had, that would be fine. But you know, it's whatever you have. So if you're using the powdered, you might add it a little bit later. You can maybe add it at the same time. But it wouldn't be the same amount. So powdered, any herb or spice, the powdered version is going to be more concentrated. So you would use a smaller amount of the powdered version than you would the fresh. So it's not, if it says 2 teaspoons of fresh ginger, that doesn't mean 2 teaspoons of powdered ginger. Maybe you want half it, so maybe like a teaspoon. That would probably work. Christy Lewis says, hi Christy, good to see you, glad you're here. Nita says, okay guys, let's talk. Sarah is so awesome, right? Natalie says Sarah's very awesome. You guys are so sweet. I love you. Natalie says, or no, Jenna99 says, hi Sarah, hi, glad to see you. I'm glad that you made it. And Nita says, are pre-chopped and pre-minced things like garlic and ginger, onions, better quality or worse quality? What do you think? If you can chop it yourself, that's always going to be the best in terms of flavor and in terms of nutrition, just because it's not hanging out. You know, all of those kind of oils and flavors and everything are going to be more intact. But also, you got to work with what you got. So everyone's situation is different, what's available to you is different, the time you have is different, your interest in cooking is different, how much money you have is different. All those things affect your food choices. Also, how much you care about like excess packaging versus not having excess packaging or any packaging at all or whatever. So do whatever's going to work for you. It's not about being perfect. It's, you know, you don't want to let the perfect get in the way of the good. You got to assess your own situation and figure out what's going to work. For me, buying the whole onions and the garlic and stuff, it's cheap. I don't mind chopping it. I think it'll taste a little bit better probably, so that's what I do. Lauren Goes Hollywood says, hello Sarah, how are you? I'm good. Hi Lauren. We are making some curry right now. We're taking a little chopping break, but we're going to get back into it and start chopping some more things. So, next thing we're going to work on, okay, this is already me deviating from the recipe because 1, this is not like an exact recipe. You know, it's flexible. But 2, I always want to add in my own things. So, I have some hot peppers still from the garden in my fridge, and we got to use these things up because there's a ton of them in there. And I know I told you guys I was going to try to make hot sauce. I have not done that. So there's just a lot of hot peppers that need to be used. Me and Jason like our food spicy, so we're throwing these in there. So I'm just gonna run the knife across these real quick. Nothing fancy. So I'm not gonna turn the camera down right now because I wanna see you. Even though that doesn't make sense because I'm not seeing you, I'm just seeing myself. I feel like more connected to you when I'm looking at the camera than when you guys are just looking at my cutting board. And this isn't that interesting, though I'm probably shaking the camera. Oh, Tamara says, bye, gotta go. Okay, good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. I'm glad that you were here even for a little bit, or actually probably quite a bit, because, you know, I kind of lose track of time as I'm cooking. All right. And I'm putting like 5 or 6 of these in here. These are really hot peppers. So if you're not into spicy stuff, obviously you don't have to do this. Or if you kind of like spicy, maybe don't use this many. But I like this heat and I need to find any way possible to use up as many of these as possible. So that's what we're doing. I just inhaled pepper stuff. Okay, so that's that. I'm gonna put that in with the garlic and the onions and the ginger. So that's in there. All right, pepper's done. I'm gonna rinse my hands again so that, you know, get the hot pepper stuff off. And now we're gonna move on to our other veggies and do some more comments and questions. So let me move some of my compost stuff to the side here because I wanna keep my cutting board semi-tidy as we go. That's a good cooking tip. Clean as you go. Don't let stuff pile up because, one, it just makes your life a lot easier when the cooking is done, but also it helps as you're cooking to not have stuff everywhere. Okay, so I'm gonna turn the camera back down to the cutting board. We're gonna chop some more things, and I'll answer some more of your comments and questions. All right, here we go. All right, I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna get a sip of water too. And let's see where I left off. Oh, Natalie says, what's everyone up to? Just finished putting together a floor-to-ceiling cat tree. Very happy kitty right now. That's super exciting. Okay, we're going to talk about that. But I'll give you a little primer on what we're going to do. We've got green beans here. We're going to get to those. Right now, we're going to cut up this eggplant, though. Okay, so I'm just kind of going to peel some of this top stuff off. And we're just going to cut this up into chunks. And I will admit that eggplant is not something I use a ton of in my cooking because it is not one of my faves. And yeah, I just don't use it in a lot of stuff, but I'm always trying to expand my horizons. And this is a good way to use eggplant, so we're gonna do it. Try to switch things up. So I'm just gonna cut the top off of that and cut off the bottom. I'm gonna cut it down the middle because, as I mentioned earlier, when you're chopping, you want a flat surface. So that's the first step, is get this flat, because when you have this rolly stuff, that's when you slip and you cut yourself on the live stream and it's a problem, which we do not want to do today. So I've got this cut like this, and then I'm just going to try to cut it into even pieces, and we're going to talk about the cat tree that Natalie just put up. Love it. We have a cat tree for our cats. It is a favorite thing in the house, and I will tell you, I was pretty anti-cat tree or cat tower. Jason was like, we should get one. I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I draw the line. I don't know, to me it just seemed like such a big thing to have. But then we ended up getting a free one from someone who like got a new one or was moving or something. I don't remember the exact circumstance. So this is the size of the eggplant if you want to see that. I was like, fine, put it up. I guess it's okay. And then the cats loved it so much, and then I became very pro cat tree after that. So then when that one had kind of, because we had already gotten it used, so it wasn't the happiest thing from the beginning, but then we really needed to replace it, so we got a new one. Actually, the cats got it for Christmas last year. Jason got it for Christmas last year from my parents. That was one of the gifts that they gave. So the cats were very happy, and they love it. And if you want to see a video of that, Jason has a channel, Cats and Pats, which I know some of you already watch. But my husband has a channel where he talks all about cat stuff, and there is a video of him assembling that cat tree if you want to see how all that goes down. Okay, eggplant is chopped. I'm going to turn you guys back up this way because we're going to work on green beans, and you don't really need to see that. Okay. Oh, Tara says, what's the nutritional benefits of aubergine, also known as eggplant, in the U.S., if some of you don't know that. Some places it's called aubergine, some places it's called eggplant. And aubergine sounds much prettier and, you know, describes the color, which I love. But eggplant doesn't sound the most appetizing, but it is accurate. If you've ever seen eggplants growing, especially when they're small, especially the white varieties, they look like little eggs on a plant, which is pretty cool. Nutritional benefits. You know, this is not one that I know very well off the top of my head, probably because I don't use it that much. I mean, obviously, that dark purple, that has some great antioxidants in there. So anthocyanins are the antioxidants that make things purple. So it's the same thing in like blueberries and blackberries and purple cabbage. Wherever you see that blue-purple color, anthocyanins are in there. Of course, it's going to have fiber, but I don't know, like, if it's especially high in any particular nutrient. So maybe that's something I should look up. And you know, it's also kind of, doesn't have a super strong flavor, so it can kind of soak up the flavors, which is why I think it's going to be a good option for our curry. So green beans, we have these. I'm just going to like snap the ends off here. Boom. So I'm just going to be doing a bunch of that, which is why I'm going to have the camera up, and we're just going to rock through these while we chat. Okay, let's see. Oh, Nita says maybe you can do a live show while you do hot sauce. Maybe, though I think the peppers are kind of like getting sadder and sadder by the day, so it might be too late for hot sauce destiny. I don't know. I also thought about pickling them. Like, I could just make, not even canning them necessarily, which I could do that, but just doing like a quick pickle in the refrigerator pickle, and then just having them in there, and then we can use them and put them on things. I thought about that too. So, I don't know. I need to get myself together, but I have been kind of busy here lately, which is good. I like that, but it just kind of, I need to get some things done that I've not been getting done, let's say. Oh, Lauren Goes Hollywood says, your love for cooking is so contagious. I never know what to cook, but you just inspire me to cook more. It looks so fun when you do it. Oh, thanks, Lauren. That's awesome. That makes me so happy to hear. That's one thing I hope that comes out of these live streams, is that you guys get some ideas for meals, and also some tips to make it easier and quicker and more efficient, and maybe taste better as well. Because, you know, I know that not everyone knows how to cook. A lot of people don't know how to cook. I didn't know how to cook, you know, when I started either. And I also know that cooking isn't everyone's favorite thing, and it doesn't have to be. Like, if you're not like, oh, I love cooking, it's so fun, and for you it's more of a, I have to do this kind of thing, that's cool, no shame. But my hope for you is that these videos, like you said, maybe can make it feel a little more fun for you, but also give you the information, so if it's just a, I have to do this kind of thing for you, you can make it happen, you can get it done, and you can make something that tastes good, which is the goal. Make food for yourself, so you can eat, because you gotta eat, and make it taste good, because eating's way more fun when the food tastes good. Okay, Natalie says, oh, talking about the cat tower, it's not the most beautiful thing, but stops him from being destructive to other things in my house, so it's worth it. That's true. It can be a nice thing for them to climb and scratch on, instead of your furniture, or your curtains, or anything like that. Oh, Lauren Goes Hollywood says, by the way, thanks for replying to my Snapchat. I didn't expect that. It made my day. I was the one wishing you early Merry Christmas. Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't use Snapchat very much. If some of you have been around for a while, you know when Snapchat was more of a newer thing. I actually used it pretty often. But I kind of fell off of using it, and I'm not sad about it. I've fallen off of using Instagram stories as well. I still post on Instagram somewhat often. Not as often as I should, probably, or whatever. But also, like, what are the shoulds about the social media stuff? That's supposed to be fun, too, right? That's a whole other discussion we could have. So I don't, like, sometimes if you're, like, someone who's followed me there recently and, like, why isn't Sarah posting anything? I just don't post there anymore. So, you know, it's there. And every once in a while, one of you will message me who maybe were around when I used that more. But it's not a place I post, but I enjoyed your Merry Christmas. It was very kind of you. And I was happy to reply. Christy Lewis says we can make jelly with the, like, hot pepper jelly with the hot peppers. That's true. I've never personally done that, but that is something that a lot of people like to do. So that's another idea. Kind of Vegan says, do you have a recipe using sardines? Omega-3s. I don't have any. The main way I eat sardines is just to make like tuna salad, but make it with sardines, or put them on my salad. Just like a lettuce salad, and use that as the protein. But when I was at the Food and Nutrition Conference, I talked to the people at Wild Planet, and I was talking to them about their sardines, and they said that, I don't know if it's on their website, I need to look into it, that they have like a recipe book with 50 ways to use sardines. So that might be a place to go look and see if you can find some ideas. It's something I want to work on though, because I was talking to them, like, that's a question a lot of people have. How do I use sardines? So I would like to dig more into that so I can be more helpful in that regard. Okay, so I've got all of the green beans trimmed. I just got them in a pile here, and I'm going to cut them in half because they're kind of small. Because whole, they're going to be too big. They're not going to be bite-sized pieces. But in half, these are pretty good. They still might be a little big, but whatever. We're just going with it. We're not going to fuss about it. Green beans are done. Okay, next up, mushrooms. Jason, as many of you know by now, because I say this all the time anytime I use mushrooms or buy mushrooms or talk about mushrooms, is that my husband Jason loves mushrooms. They're one of his favorites. And over the past probably year or two, I've really been trying to make a conscious effort to include them in recipes more. Because when we were early on in our marriage, I don't dislike mushrooms, but they're not one of my favorite things. And so I don't often think about them on my own. But there's something he really loves. So I've been trying to find ways to incorporate them more and more. So I'm just gonna, I've got a little damp paper towel here. I'm gonna use about half of them. I could use the whole thing, but I'm making a stir fry later this week, actually using the same tool, the Meal-O-Matic, on dryum.org, which is linked in the description of the video. There's a stir fry maker on there too, which you can use to make stir fry. So I'm gonna use half of these for this, and then half of these for a stir fry later in the week. But you know, these are pretty clean. I'm just wiping them off. I've always heard that you shouldn't wash mushrooms because they kind of absorb the water and then they get soggy and then it's not good. I don't know, so that's why I do the wiping. Jason thinks maybe that's not true and that it's an extra effort that's not necessary, but whatever, it's not that bad. And if it means that the mushrooms might taste better, I'm good with that. So let's give them a little bath with the damp cloth, and that's about half. We'll save the other half for later. Jordan says, I like cooking, but the whole meal planning and having to go shopping stresses me out. I don't know why. And Jenny99 says, you really inspired me to cook too. Thanks, that's really awesome to hear. Okay, so I'll get to some of these other comments, but let's talk about the meal planning. Jordan, I don't know if you have seen the meal planning video on my channel or not. So that's one thing that I will refer you to as a resource. Just so you guys know, I'm going to be slicing these mushrooms, just going across. Nothing too wild while I'm talking. So let me get my train of thought back. What am I talking about? Meal planning. There's a meal planning video on my channel if you haven't seen it. So there I go through some tips and kind of how I do it. So that's a good reference for you if you haven't seen that video. Aside, or for anyone else who's watching and maybe wondering about meal planning. Aside from that, meal planning, I think if you're not in the routine of it, it can seem like this big task, like, oh, this is the thing I have to do, and like all the shopping. I find for me overall though, and for people I work with, it ends up reducing stress because then you're not having that last minute like, oh no, what am I gonna make? Which if that does happen, this Meal-O-Matic tool is really nice to make it a little less stressful. But still, when it comes to planning for a week and when you're going to the grocery store, having that plan in place does make it a lot easier. And you know, I don't necessarily love meal planning. Sometimes I've got all these ideas. When I was doing the meal planning for this week, I was sitting there, I was talking to the cats, and I was like, kitties, what are we gonna eat this week? I just wasn't feeling inspired. I kind of, especially at the end of a season, like now that we're moving into fall, I'm kind of in my rut of summer-y recipes, and I've kind of been making the same thing for the past few months, and then I'm like, okay, I gotta shake it up, start thinking about more fall foods, and like shifting into that fall-winter mode more, and you know, just coming up with different ideas. So I feel you on that. It's not always like my favorite thing, and sometimes I have trouble coming up with ideas. But one thing I will say is that when you do it consistently, and I talk about this in the meal planning video, I do my meal plans in a little like spiral top notebook, and I just flip the page and write the new one, flip the page, write the new one every week. So it just sits on a bookshelf here in my kitchen, but it means that when I'm meal planning and I don't have ideas, I did this week. I flip through and look at a few months ago, or a year ago, or 2 years ago, because they're all just there. I just keep writing in the same notebook, and sometimes I can get ideas that way. Oh, our rice is done. Fabulous. Okay, and the mushrooms are chopped. And I dropped one on the floor, so we'll put that in the compost. And I will turn off the rice and just let that sit and everything out until we're done cooking everything else. So yeah, I think that can help. Also, I don't know if you're just shopping for yourself or multiple people, but if you're shopping for other people who are grown-ups who could be doing the meal planning and cooking, then make them do it. I mean, or get them involved. Everybody's situation is different. Like, Jason never does meal planning because I do it. Because that's our division of labor in our home and how we do things. Some families, it's one person who's primarily responsible for the meal planning. In some houses, it's everyone's involved, maybe a couple people, you know, everyone's in a different living situation as well. So if there are other people around, maybe there's someone else who would prefer to do it, or who you could do it with, or like trade off or something like that, and maybe that would help. So I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have more questions. Okay, I'm gonna pause, keep writing your questions and stuff, but I need to look at my recipe, make sure I'm doing everything I need to do, and keep this train rolling. Have I forgotten anything? I've done that. Oh, I need to cut up carrots. Okay. And then we're going to put all that stuff in. I'm just trying to review my steps. Put all that stuff in. Put that. Okay. So I can cut up my carrots, and then we're going to rock and roll. How high is the heat? Medium high. Like I said, I don't normally do recipes on the live streams. This is a little bit different. Well, let's see if my tablet is gonna... Yeah, okay, good deal. Okay, so we've got the mushrooms chopped now. I'm gonna cut up some carrots. And let me get caught up in comments too. Okay, so I'm gonna turn you back down towards the cutting board so you can see the carrots, and you can see the pile of vegetables that we're starting to accumulate here. Some of it might be out of the frame, but that's okay. You can kind of get the idea. You can see the edge of the mushrooms at least. And over here, we're gonna cut up our carrots. So I have some orange and some like yellow and white carrots here. So I'm just gonna kind of lob, that one's got kind of a weird split thing going. Lob the ends off of those. And normally I would put this stuff kind of in a bowl, but since I have this bowl to the side that has the onions and garlic and whatnot, my plan is to, once I put the onions and garlic in the pan, then to toss all this stuff into that bowl. So it's all just kind of piling up. But that's one of the benefits of having like a super gigantic cutting board like this, is it gives you lots of room to work. Okay, let's take some of these carrots to the side for now, and we can chop. So again, we've got something that is not stable. So the first thing we're gonna do is cut it in half so we have a stable surface. And then I'm just gonna go like this. All the veggies are going in at the same time in this recipe. So since carrots are a little bit of a harder, denser vegetable, I'm gonna cut these up a little bit smaller than some of the other things, since everything's gonna be cooking the same amount of time. Just cut that in half, and I'm just doing quick. Run the knife through. Mushroom, get out of the way. Sarah, try not to cut your finger on the live stream, as is always my greatest fear, and I'm sure is an inevitable event that will happen if I do enough of these, right? One day there's going to be some sort of disaster. We haven't had any disasters yet, which is good. Maybe some close calls, like when the smoke detector is going off, or that time, I don't know how many of you were here for that, when I was making, I think I was making stir fry, and I put the hot peppers in the pan, or maybe I was making drunken noodles, I don't know, but I put the hot peppers in the pan, and then I, like, basically pepper sprayed myself with the fumes coming off of the hot peppers, and then I was coughing, and then my tears were watering, my eyes were watering. That was a whole thing. So, fun times here on the live streams. Okay, just rolling through these carrots. Maybe not the most exciting thing. I guess I could be answering questions right now, couldn't I? All right, let me finish chopping that and then find a comment or question. Nita says, any ideas for cooking for one? I think the best thing if you're cooking for one is to just go ahead and cook for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 and then use leftovers. It means you don't have to cook every single night because you can eat off of, one meal for several days. And if you don't like leftover, like that's what I did in college, and I would kind of eat the same thing for a couple days. But I know not everyone loves that. So if that's you, you can always freeze the leftovers, and then you can just eat them as leftovers in a week or in a couple weeks if you don't want to eat the same thing 2 or 3 days in a row. And then it's kind of like your own convenience meals. You just go shopping in your freezer and pick out what you want, and you have some different options to choose from. So that's what I would recommend. Because when you're cooking, it's not that much work. Sometimes cooking for one is more work than cooking for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. Because you're working with these tiny amounts, and the recipes don't always come together correctly, and the measurements aren't always easy to do, and whatever. So why not just make a big batch of something, and then you can have it later. All right, carrots are cut up. And we're going to turn the camera back up. Okay, so I'll continue looking at your things, but next step is to get things going in this pan. So maybe I will turn us this way now. Get us kind of that way so you guys can see what's happening. Oh, I saw earlier someone asked what time is it here. It is currently 5:53 p.m. I'm on the East Coast of the United States. So I've got like a Dutch oven situation here. This was actually a gift that Jason and I got for our wedding, and it's still going strong. I feel like I haven't used it as much here lately. I'll probably be using it more now that it's cooler because I'm going to be getting into more of these kinds of curries and soups and stews and whatnot. So we're going to put some coconut oil down in here. And as you saw using the Meal-O-Matic, it gives you a few different oil options that are good for that recipe, and you just pick what you have. So coconut oil is an option. I have coconut oil in my pantry, so that's what we're doing. Put this to the side. Rinse coconut oil off my fingers. And we're going to get this heating up, medium-high heat. Okay. Now, let me check my recipe real quick to make sure I am on track with what needs to be happening. Okay, so we got our coconut oil in here heating up. The next thing is to add in the onions. Then you're supposed to let that go for a little bit and then add the garlic and ginger, but I've already put them all in the same bowl. I don't think it's not going to be that big of a deal. So I'm just going to put all those in together. Then we put in, okay, let me start lining things up for myself. Following a recipe on the live stream is not ideal because I have to keep checking to make sure I'm not forgetting. Got that. Then we'll put all that in. Then that. Okay. Let me pull the live stream back up so I can see your comments. And get us back in real time. Alright, so while this is melting down, we will do a little more chatting. Hey, I have a cat down here. Okay, come here, Floof. Come here. Come say hi to the people. If you're going to be trying to climb up my leg, then you can come say hi to the people. This is Luna. Some of you may know her from Jason's channel, Cats and Pats. She is a floofy black queen. Look at her. She was like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. She was down like at my ankles and like stretching up my leg and trying to climb up the back of my leg. So we will have a cute floof moment. She's quite the snuggly cat. She often comes in at like 5 in the morning or something and gets under the covers and snuggles right next to me in my arm like a person. It's very cute. Okay, you want to get down now. Okay. So sweet. Okay. Back to comments. Jenny99 says, it's too bad that my girlfriend doesn't have internet at her place. She'd be on these streams in a heartbeat. She loves to cook. Oh, that is a shame. Well, I hope that, hopefully one day she can watch my streams, because I would love to have her. That would be awesome. Lauren Goes Hollywood says, can you make a video on how to store fruits and vegetables? I'm not sure if it's my fridge, but I feel like my produce gets bad so fast I have to throw it away. I don't know if I have any great tips. I mean, most things I just keep the veggies in the veggie crisper and the fruit in the fruit crisper. Fruit crisper, fruit drawer, I don't know. For herbs, I like to, like fresh herbs like cilantro or basil or rosemary or whatever. I like to trim the ends just like you would a bouquet of flowers and then put them in water in my fridge. I find that that really helps with those. You don't want anything in any kind of like wet, clingy bags or anything because that can kind of, things can start to rot. Keeping things in the produce bag is fine, but if there's a ton of moisture in there, then that could be an issue if things are going bad. Also, I mean, certain things are going to last longer than others. Carrots will last forever. Those kind of like fall and winter vegetables, they last a long time, which is nice because if it's fall and winter, stuff isn't growing, you need stuff to last a long time. You know, back in the day before, at least not everyone, but many of us now have access to produce all year round without really having to think about it, which is a blessing. Other things are not going to last as long, so it also depends on the produce item. But if you have any other specific issues, like I have this and it goes bad, maybe I can help you with that. Also check the temp on your fridge. Maybe your fridge is set too high. So look in your fridge, look at, you know, what's going on in there. You could also get it, sometimes maybe the thermometer in your fridge is acting up, so you're setting it to a certain temp, but it's not actually getting that cold, so you could get an additional thermometer to put in there and see. Couple ideas to try. Let me see how this oil is doing. It's starting to get warm. Lauren Goes Hollywood says, can you make, oh no, I just read that. Natalie says, oh, I love that idea, Lauren. I feel like I waste so much because I can't eat it fast enough. So this is where meal planning helps for sure, because then you're only buying what you need and you don't have a bunch of extra things. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you're not meal planning. But also, oh, Luna, do not get on the cutting board. That is not food safe, and you might cut yourself. Thank you. Also, the tool we're using right now to make this recipe, the Meal-O-Matic, go to the link in the description, dryum.org, go to the Meal-O-Matic. It's a free tool, and one of the main ideas behind it is to help you use what you already have to clear out the fridge so you're not having food waste, and you're not wasting money. So if you go there, there's a lot of different options of different meals to pick from, and you can make a bunch of different recipes. And if you just keep on the basic things, keep on hand the basic things you need, like soy sauce and fish sauce, and you know what, you can look at the different recipes and see what those are. But if you have those basics in your pantry, then you can make any of those recipes just with what you have at any time. Which is really great. Jenny99 says, have you ever tried oysters? It's something me and my girlfriend have been enjoying lately. Yes, I had raw oysters a couple years ago. The Sorted Food guys, I don't know if you guys watch them, Sorted Food. It's a big channel on YouTube. They were doing like a tour and they came to Virginia. They were in Richmond. And so I went and I met them, and it was at this restaurant, and one of the things they had were raw oysters, which is something that that restaurant specializes in. So I got to try them there for the first time. And then Jason and I went there semi-recently. When was that? It was like for, is it a birthday or anniversary? Something like that, some occasion. And we went, and I ate them. Jason was not into it. He was not ready to take that step and try the raw oysters. But I thought it was really fun. I don't cook with a lot of shellfish. It's more of a special occasion thing. I enjoy it when I go to restaurants, but I don't cook with it as much, though maybe I should do that more. Okay, our oil is hot. We're going to take a break from comments and questions real quick just so I can put this stuff in here. Alright. So we've got that stuff in the pan. I'm also going to add in a pinch of salt just to get everything nice and happy in there. The fish sauce we're going to add later. This recipe calls for fish sauce. That's going to add some saltiness, so I'm not going to add a ton. So I'm just going to add a little bit now to help it get going. And we'll use this wooden spoon. So we're going to be stirring this around. And this is just going to cook for a couple minutes. And then we'll move on to our next step and add more things. But I'm going to put all these veggies that we chopped in this bowl real quick, or at least as many as I can get in there. So those will be ready when the time comes. And let's see, more questions. Oh, Nita says hi to Luna, back when Luna was on the stream. Our cats, sometimes I just sit back and I'm like, I love these cats so much. They're so cute, they're so sweet, they're such buddies. The best. Okay. That's about all I'm able to fit in there right now, and then I'll do the rest when we get there. Nita says, Luna might like the smell of ginger. My old cat loved the smell of ginger and garlic. What Luna loves is carrots. I'm surprised that if she had really gotten up on the cutting board, I think she would have lost her mind, because if we have like the bag of carrots out, she will be on it, rolling around, rubbing her face on it. She loves carrots, and I don't know why, but something about the smell, it is just like her favorite thing, and she knows. She knows when the carrots are around, and she is there for it. Oh, R.I.P. socks. Sorry for socks. Maritza says, where did you find the current recipe? Okay, so we just talked about that, but I will say it again in case you missed it. If you go in the description of this video, DrYum.org, it's a nonprofit organization that I work with, full disclosure, but we have a tool on our website called Meal-O-Matic. So if you go to the homepage there, one thing you will see is a donate button, because we are a nonprofit and we just had a big fundraising event, and we're still taking donations if you'd like to help support the nonprofit and our mission to help kids and families get in the kitchen cooking more and giving them tools and resources to make that easier. You know, everything on the website, totally free, the recipes and the tools. So if you go to the Meal-O-Matic there on the homepage, you will see a bunch of different meal frameworks. Stir fry, curry, which is what we're doing tonight, a soup maker, salad maker, pasta, all these kinds of different things. And then you can pick what you want, and then it guides you through to select your ingredients and creates a custom recipe for you. So it's a great tool to just use what you have on hand, but you can also use it in your meal planning if you want to make something specific, then that works as well, which is what I did today. Because I knew that I wanted to make that, and I said, well, let me figure out what I want, and then I put it on my list. Okay, those are cooking down nicely. Let's go to the next step, and then we will jump back in. Okay. Just trying to make sure I'm staying caught up. Okay, so got the coconut oil in here. We've got our onions and garlic and all of that mess in here. Now we need to add some curry paste. So, I've got the curry paste here. We need 2 to 3 tablespoons. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm using the Thai Kitchen red curry paste. You can just find this in your grocery store. Usually it's in the kind of international or Asian section. It comes in these little jars. There's a green one and a red one. So if you want green curry, you can do that. And there's an option for that on the Meal-O-Matic curry maker if you want to do that. But I like the red. I think it's nice, and that's what I chose tonight. So that's 1 tablespoon. And you know, I like flavor, so I'm going to lean into the 3 tablespoons, I think, rather than the 2. Because why not? So we're just going to drop that in there. And then we'll get our 3rd tablespoon. Okay. Curry paste is in. Toss this stuff in the sink, just get it out of our way. Bum, bum, bum. Alright, done with that. So I'm going to mix this around and just get it incorporated into our onions and garlic and all of that. Oh, and I don't know if you guys have ever used a curry paste before, so if you want to see, I mean, I showed you the jar, but you can kind of see down in there. That's what it looks like. It's just like this red paste. It's red chili peppers, garlic, lemongrass, Thai ginger, salt, shallot, spices, kaffir lime. So, you know, just lots of things to add lots of yummy flavor. So we got that in, and then I think the next thing we add, yes, our protein. So for our protein, we selected, when we were going through the Meal-O-Matic, chickpeas. So I've got a can of chickpeas here. You could, of course, you know, cook your own, but I did not have time to prep that. And again, we don't want the perfect to be the enemy of the good. Use the canned chickpeas, y'all. Not a big deal. All right, in we go. Get that can out of here. I'm just gonna spin these around. And I went ahead and added the liquid in, but I could have drained them as well. The recipe doesn't call, you know, for you to do that. All right, chickpeas are in, and everything's kind of stirred around. Okay. So this, if we were, you know, adding a meat protein, then we would let this meat cook a little bit, but since it's just canned chickpeas, we don't have to worry about that really. So the next step then is to add in all of our vegetables. So let's get these tossed in here. Veggies in the pot. There we go, and I've got more here on the cutting board, so we're gonna put those in too. Whoop! I almost knocked the bowl over. All right, and just a quick reminder what we have in here. We have eggplant, green beans, mushrooms, and carrots. And you can see it was basically 2 bowls. Fun fact, this is when I set this bowl next to a pot or something while I was cooking, and the heat radiated off and melted the side of it, but it's still a perfectly good bowl, and I still use it. But, you know, now it just has like a fun story to go along with it. Okay, so I'm kind of going to stir this around a little bit and try to get things incorporated, but obviously, I mean, you can see now it's up here at the top of the pot, so it's a lot of veggies. We're just going to try to stir this as best we can without everything flying out over the edge. Get some of the, you know, the curry paste and stuff. And then as these veggies cook down, it'll all start to shrink as it releases some of its water, and it will be easier to stir. But we'll just kind of do this to get everything started and going, and then this has to cook for a couple minutes. All right, we're gonna let these hang out and watch them. And let me just check on what else we need to do next, so I'm making sure that I'm staying. Okay, so that. Okay, I think I have everything out. I try to get everything prepped ahead of time, so I'm ready to roll when we get started, but sometimes I forget things, so I like to check as I go to make sure that we still have everything that we need. Jenna99 asks, how do you take care of the cat's teeth? We don't do anything specific. We don't like brush them or anything. So, nothing? I don't know if that's the right answer, but it's the honest one. Oh, Kind of Vegan says cilantro microgreens finally sprouted. Yay, that's fun. For those of you who haven't been on these live streams before, Kind of Vegan does some gardening. And so I love hearing the updates on how things are growing. That's really cool. And also indoor gardening stuff. So I grow all my stuff outdoors, but if you ever have questions about indoor stuff and you see, well, I don't want to volunteer you Kind of Vegan, but if Kind of Vegan would be so generous, maybe if you had questions, they might be able to help you out and answer if they would like to. But that is not something I can promise because that is not my place. I don't want to, you know, whatever. Lauren Goes Hollywood says, wow, I checked out the meal. Excuse me. Wow, I checked out the Meal-O-Matic thing. It's so awesome. Yay! Yes, it's such a great tool, and it's free. It's free for everyone, and it's mobile friendly, which is even better. So if you pull it up on your tablet or your phone or whatever, it works great. And yeah, it's awesome. I love it. And it's one of those things that's just like, I wish more people knew about it because it's there and it works and there's so many options, and it really helps with a lot of the barriers people have because, you know, at the Doctor Yum Project, we find, and I mean, I'm sure you guys would agree with this, that 3 of the big things that get in people's way for cooking at home is time, know-how, and the cost. They think it's too expensive or they can't afford it. And so we try to tackle all those with our work. Nita says drink water. Thank you. We try to tackle all those things with our work to help make it easier for people, and the Meal-O-Matic really hits all of those. You know, the know-how, it creates the recipe for you and it shows you exactly how to do it, and there's a video showing you how to make it. The time, it brings it together for you quickly, so if you haven't planned, you can pull the things you have and make a meal out of it, and none of them take a long time. I mean, obviously, whenever I'm doing these live streams, it takes a while, much longer to cook anything than it normally would, because I'm moving a camera around and explaining chopping techniques and talking about the ingredients. But if I was making this on my own, it would just be chop, 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 and I would be listening to, you know, like BTS in the background, I'd be jamming out and singing in broken Korean, and it would be a whole thing, but it would go a lot faster. You know, so that's the time thing, and then the cost. Meal-O-Matic is all about pulling the things that you have, preventing those things from going to waste, saving you money, and also saving you money in a couple ways. Because one, it helps you use what you have on hand, so you aren't having to run to the store to buy something extra, or that food doesn't end up in the trash. But also, it's preventing you from maybe having to go out to a restaurant at the last minute, not because you want to and it's fun and you want to have a restaurant experience, but because we don't have food and we need something, just get something, which is not the most fun way to eat out, and it's a lot more expensive than cooking something like this at home with stuff that you already have in your fridge and in your pantry. All right, give the veggies another little stir. They're starting to get kind of happy in there. So we will move on to the next step. Kind of Vegan says, see my recent garden video updates. Good deal. And Jenna99 says, my cat had to have some rotten teeth removed. Oh, that stinks. So it might be wise to do something to keep their teeth healthy. Well, I'll have to look into that and what causes that and how to prevent it. Because that's never a good thing to deal with, people or cats. Okay, veggies are all doing their thing. So we'll move on to the next step of the recipe. Let me pull it up to make sure that I think I know, but I don't want to mess this up and tell y'all the wrong thing on the live stream. Okay, so now we're going to add in brown sugar, fish sauce, and broth. Now, disclaimer, I do not have broth. I'm just going to use water. That's what we're going to do. So, brown sugar, 2 tablespoons going in. So this is going to add some sweetness. Then we're going to do our fish sauce, which, put the tablespoon in here because I did the curry paste. So, fish sauce is one of those things that it has a very strong odor. If you're not used to cooking with it, it might kind of be shocking to you. But it is really the thing that adds a ton of great flavor to a lot of your favorite Asian recipes. It really bumps things up to the next level and makes things taste really, really delicious. So if you've never used it or you're a little hesitant, don't worry. If a recipe calls for it, it's for good reason. I highly recommend that you use it. If you can't do fish because of an allergy, or perhaps you're vegan, you could use soy sauce. That would be a fair substitution. It's not going to taste quite as good in my opinion, but if that's the thing that you need because of a health condition or just your values or whatever, it will work, and it's still going to taste great. Just not my personal preference. I prefer the fish sauce. Okay, so we're going to stir all that up. Give it a little zhuzh in there. And then the water. And I might go a little bit under what it calls for since I had that chickpea liquid. I'm using a mason jar to measure. We'll do like a little bit under what the recipe says. Okay. We've got our liquid in there. You stir everything around again. And then we're going to add in our coconut milk. So we're using culinary or canned coconut milk here. This is not coconut milk beverage, just to be clear. So I'm going to open this up. And the recipe does not call for the whole can, but I'm just kind of going to see as I'm going what it looks like, because this is not an exact science. Just like making a soup or a stir fry, curry is not exact either. You know, you have a little bit different amounts of veggies or whatever, the way things are cooking. I might end up using the whole thing, maybe not. We'll see. I'm just going to kind of, because the recipe even says, put some in, see if it's getting to the consistency that you like, adjust as needed. So we'll put in, that's probably about what the recipe calls for. Because, you know, if you have a little bit left over, then you got to figure out something to do with it, which I'm sure I could. But if I could just use it all in here and make this creamy deliciousness, plus I use the extra curry paste too. So I don't think it would affect the flavor. Yeah, I'm just gonna, because we've got a lot of veggies in here, I'm just gonna pour in the whole can. Get all the good bits around the edge. Okay. Get this out here. And give this a little stir. Alright, now I think that's everything that needs to go in here. Well, let me check my recipe so I can be certain and not lie to you. Let's see what we got going on. And I just got coconut milk on my screen. Okay. Coconut milk. Bring to a boil. Okay? Bring to a boil, simmer for 10 to 20 minutes. So these veggies are already pretty well cooked so far, and Jason and I don't like our vegetables like super well cooked. We still like a little bite to them. So I'm probably going to lean towards the 10-minute end of things. So what we will do is we will let this simmer for about 10 minutes or so. I can show you guys what it looks like too once we get there. And this is a great time to do comments and questions. And also for me to tidy up a little bit. So I'm going to get back to your comments and questions. So if you have anything, populate the comments. And we will make that happen. Okay. So now we're starting to get bubbly. Oh, let me see. Can I bring, I'll do this. Let me tilt the pot up just a little bit so you guys can kind of see. Oh, this is a disaster waiting to happen. You see, there's things in there. I'm not lying. Watch me spill boiling hot curry liquid all over myself. That would be a disaster. Okay, so now we're going to pull this back to a simmer. I'm just going to let it sit there and do its thing. I'm going to go back to y'all's comments and questions. Okay, get us back caught up here. Oh, Natalie says, I just realized it's not Thursday. Aren't live streams on Thursdays? Not complaining. I'll watch these any day of the week. So, I did mention that right at the very beginning. So, yes, they're usually on the first Thursday of every month. Mark your calendars. But I've been traveling a lot, and so I wasn't here on the first Thursday of the month, and then last Thursday, it's all been a little wild. I don't know how much I'll pay attention to how often I post, or if you live your life by my videos, and when is Sarah's next video coming out. I don't think that's the case, but maybe it is. So I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been a little more sporadic, because I've been like traveling. I was in DC, not far away, but still not home, you know, doing that. And then I was in Orlando for the American Academy of Pediatrics meeting. If you saw my last video I uploaded on Saturday of me in the airport, that was me getting ready for that trip. So I've been traveling a lot, and TBH, I was kind of playing around with the idea of skipping this month's live stream. I was like, well, it's kind of later in the month. I don't know how much people care if I skip one, but I also really like doing these. And then today I was trying to come up with video ideas, because I'm a little bit behind on my video calendar planning, just being honest. And I was like, oh, I'll come up with something and film it today and edit it and upload it, which I do sometimes. I hate it when I do that to myself. It's the worst, but I did have room in my schedule to make that happen today. But then I was like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, you know what? Let's do a cooking live stream. That sounds fun. I haven't done one this month. And who cares if it's Tuesday? Y'all will get the notification. And if you can be here, that's awesome. That's great. If you can't, you can watch the replay. But it'll be good. And so that's why I decided to do it today. And I'm glad that I did. I was also considering skipping. I was feeling real tired this afternoon. I think I'm just still off from like being all over the place. But I kind of got a second wind. And I was like, no, let's do the live stream. It'll be fun. And I'm glad that I did, because it is fun. So yeah, that's why we're here on a Tuesday instead of a Thursday. Also, if you guys have, you know, video idea suggestions or anything, I always love to hear those. I can't promise that every suggestion will become a video, but it is really helpful for me to hear what you guys are interested in. And also, let's just check, because we're waiting for this to go. And if you're here hanging out, then you care about this, I would think, because you're watching me cook food, which is interesting, but, you know, not super clicky. I'm gonna go watch this random girl cook. So, have you been feeling about the videos on my channel here lately? Honest feedback. Let's get into it, because I don't know if y'all have noticed or how much you pay attention to it, but I have been playing around with different styles of videos, different lengths of videos, just different things, trying to switch it up for myself, just so I'm keep having fun with it. but also for y'all, so you're getting some more variety and just trying some different things, because I don't want it to be stale or stagnant, or, you know, it's always good to change things, I think. You don't want to stay the same. So I've been trying some different formats, some more like vloggy style, some, you know, just different stuff. So I would love to hear your thoughts on that, first off. How have you been liking on the videos on the channel so far? I haven't done like a sit-down talking video in my office in a long time, which is kind of weird for me. But also, excuse me, I'm burping. It's also been kind of nice. So let me know that. Also, if there's anything that you guys would like a video on, anything in particular that you're feeling like you need, that's always good to hear too. So type away. Let me know what you think. This is the time for us to talk about it. And this is nice too, because sometimes when I get suggestions, it's like in a comment, I'm like, oh, okay, that's an idea, but this is a good way for us to discuss and kind of brainstorm together and have some clarification as well. So, because I can ask like, what do you mean by that? Oh, Jenna99 says, it's fun to see you anytime. Well, good. I'm glad that you feel that way. And Natalie says, I'm glad you didn't skip. It's nice to watch live and chat. Awesome. I'm glad that you guys think so, because I mean, this is a totally different feel than a video that I record and then edit and then upload, because this is real time. And it's not, you know, it's just a different way for us to engage, and I really, really enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun, so I'm glad you guys do too. Nita says, I think they've been different. It gives people something fresh and unexpected. But I do have to say, the original style I do like. Okay, so Nita likes the sit-down talking head. That's what I call it, talking head, because I'm just sitting there and talking. So good to know. Jenna99 says, after you and Jason learn the status of your cat's teeth and how to keep them healthy, that's a video Jason could make. I will send that his way as an idea. I like that idea. Okay, how are we doing? Veggies. And yeah, anything else if you guys can think of, or just general feedback. You know, it's always good to have. Also, I don't know how many of you guys watched the vlog of me and Jason at the BTS concert. Well, actually, I do. I could go on my analytics and see. It wasn't very many of you. But if you're here, you might be one of the few that did, because, you know, if you're here on the live stream, you're a different kind of viewer than a person who just pops by for a quick tip or whatever. But that video was so interesting to me, because I wasn't sure if I was going to post it. I was kind of going back and forth, because it's not like super related to my channel, but it's about me. So that's related. And I did it as kind of an extra video, so I didn't feel like you guys weren't missing anything if you're like, I really don't care about her going to this concert. Because I can understand, you might feel that way. I see people go to concerts, I'm like, I don't know what that band is. I don't care about your concert. So I'm not offended if that's how you felt. But that video blew up. It was so wild. Because I guess it's, you know, it's a very searchable thing, very trendy. A lot of people were looking for it. So of my subscribers, not a ton of people watched it, but overall, it's now one of the top videos on my channel. And it was also weird because most of my videos that are at the higher view counts usually have kind of a slow burn. Like, they hit with y'all and you watch, and then, and maybe it's a big amongst the subscribers, maybe it's not, but then usually it just kind of like goes up, or maybe it'll have like a big boost on the first day or something, but then it kind of levels off, or kind of a slow burn. But this video, I posted it and it was just like boom, 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 boom. I kept checking my, you know, analytics. I was like, oh my gosh, why? Like, every time I refreshed, it was like 100 more views, 100 more views, 100 more views. It was nuts. I've never experienced anything like that so rapid, and it was like that for several days. And I look at the analytics on that, huge portion of the people are from South Korea, which makes sense because it's a Korean band. Much higher than my normal audience viewership. But it was really, really fun, and it made me glad that I posted that video, because no, it's not like cooking or whatever, but obviously a lot of people out there liked it and enjoyed it. I got so many beautiful, lovely, wonderful comments on that video. It made me think maybe I should have a K-pop channel. Not really, but kind of really. Because it was just something so different, but also I have a bad habit of making my hobbies my work. Not that that's not great. I love that. I love my work, but I also want to try to keep some things that aren't my work. So that's always a thing I have to think about. But yeah, it was just so cool. And especially, I mean, y'all know, if you hang out in the comments of my videos, not most of them are fine, but anything that gets a lot of views, I guess I should say anything that gets a lot of views on my channel, it's generally because it's like a hot topic in nutrition or something that people want to argue about and have strong opinions about. And so then the comments just kind of, I mean, I get notifications on my phone. I see people fighting with each other and I'm like, what is happening? Or they're yelling at me and I'm just like, whatever, pass, see you later. You watched my video, great, go for it. Just spew your hate. I don't care. Unless it's really abusive, then I do delete that. Or if I just feel like it, because I can do that too. But, you know, so me experiencing that, of course I get lots of lovely comments from all of you, and you're all wonderful, but I do attract some not so nice people. So to have that video that blew up so big, but all the comments were so nice, it was such a different experience, because any video I have that brings in new people, it's usually new people who are vocal and want to yell at me are the ones who end up commenting. They're new people that are nice, and because they're nice, they don't leave nasty comments. But this video was like, everything was so kind and generous and wonderful, and it was so different, which was kind of fun. But now I'm just talking about YouTube videos and how I decide what videos to make. I don't know if that's interesting to you guys or not. Kind of Vegan says, sardine video. You and Jason can try a bunch of ways to eat sardines. Ooh, that's a fun idea. Would you guys like to see more eating videos? That's something I've thought about before, like me trying this type of product or that type of product, or sardine recipes or something like that. Is that fun? Because I've thought about that. Maybe it could be fun, but it's not a genre that I've really gone into. Okay, these are looking really nice, so I'm going to turn the heat off, and then I will show you the final product, but I'm going to catch up on comments. Lauren Goes Hollywood says, what do you think is better for weight loss? Restricting and counting calories, typical approach, or intuitive eating, though it may take way longer to lose weight? Okay, so I do have a video on counting calories, or the CICO diet. So if you haven't seen that, Lauren, then look at that, because I talk about that specifically. But I recommend, when I work with people one-on-one and just general in my approach to nutrition, intuitive eating. Little side note disclaimer, this is general information. It's not a substitute for medical advice, or it's not a substitute for diagnosis. It's not meant to diagnose, treat, cure any condition. It's not a substitution for seeing a medical professional like your own doctor or dietitian or whoever. General information. But I normally, I like the intuitive eating approach. I think it's a good way to go. That's a whole other discussion we could get into. But it doesn't mean you're going to lose weight. That's a key thing to remember. With intuitive eating, someone may lose weight if their weight is higher than where their body naturally wants to hang out. If someone prior to intuitive eating maybe is chronically overeating, there's a lot of different factors, but someone may lose weight when they're doing intuitive eating, but you may not. Your weight may stay the same. You may gain weight, because it's all about tapping into your body's own cues and situations. If you have the intuitive eating book, it's linked in my, or if you don't have it, it's linked in my store. If you do have the book, then you'll know there's one section where they kind of talk about this. So some people may lose weight, some people may stay the same, some people may gain weight, but that's not really what it's about. It's about tapping into your body's own cues, listening to your body, having a healthy relationship with food, and letting your body take care of the weight part. Because as individuals, we're all different, and there's so much variety in body shapes and sizes, and so we can't really just pluck a number out of the air for a weight, or pluck a size out of the air and say, this is what you should be. So what's really best for health and well-being is to take care of your body, use the intuitive eating approach, honor your hunger and fullness, all the different principles, honor your hunger and fullness, engage in joyful movement, take care of your stress and your sleep, and do all those things that we know that are health promoting. If you have an interest in taking care of your health, do all those things that are health promoting, the behaviors, because those are the things we can do, and letting our body find its own size, because that's really not something we can know, because we are all so different. Oh, and Lauren says, sorry, my comment didn't show up on my screen, so I asked twice. Totally fine. I figured it was probably something like that. You're good. Kind of Vegan says yes to the eating videos. Okay, good to know. Jenny99 says, remember I told you about a documentary about a child with anorexia? It's part of a series of documentaries set in a prestigious eating disorder treatment center in England. Yes, in England. Yes, that does sound familiar. I did not end up checking it out, though. I have to say, I have not seen it. But is it on Netflix? Because that would be interesting. Y'all, I have so many things I need to watch. I have TV shows and everything, documentaries I'd like to watch, and I never do, mainly because I spend all of my time watching YouTube if I am watching something, and it's usually watching BTS videos because I have an obsession, and I'm just going to be honest about it. Oh, Jenna99 says it's on YouTube. Okay, I'll have to write that down afterwards and make a point to look at it. Alright, so we're done bubbling away over here. I'm going to get a bowl so I can show you the final product, because I don't want to bring you guys over to the pan because I'm worried that I will, one, accidentally end the live stream in the process of taking you off the thing and whatever, and two, that I will drop the phone in the pot. So I'm just going to kind of let me get a ladle maybe. It's a little dusty because I don't use it often because it's been summer and it's been hot. We've not been making soup. Okay. But I do want to show you what it looks like. Now I do have rice over here, so I am going to eat this over rice, but I will just grab some out of the pot really quickly so you can kind of see the overall look. Da da da. And try not to spill it. So, this, oh, you know what? I could do this. Or maybe not. I was going to try to turn it down, but okay. This is what we're doing. So, doesn't look as pretty on camera, but you can see there's all kind of veggies in there. We've got the, you know, curry broth stuff going on. Let me get the ladle so I can kind of show you a little bit better what the broth looks like. So this is what the broth looks like. I'll pour it. See? It's that kind of red, milky, coconut milky thing. It smells amazing in here. You guys have no idea. I wish you could smell it. Just all the curry paste and the garlic and the ginger and all the things happening. Coconut milk. It smells so good. I'm really excited to eat it. I hope that you guys enjoy your dinner if you're having dinner, if you've been making dinner while we've been hanging out. And that you'll try the Meal-O-Matic out because it really is a great free tool. DrYum.org is where you can find it. It's linked in the description of the video. And I love it. I think it's great, and I think it could be really helpful for you. I mean, I personally use it. So definitely check it out. Even if you feel confident in the kitchen, it's great for just getting new ideas as well. Maybe you don't know how to make a curry, or maybe you feel like you could switch up your soup game a little bit. It can give you more ideas for different ingredients to use or different styles of meals to make. So I hope you will use it. It's been really great hanging out with you guys. I always love talking to you and hanging out and chatting and doing these live streams and cooking and all that kind of stuff. I hope you're having a great evening or morning or afternoon or night, wherever you are in the world, whatever time it is where you are, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!